want to get your take, because we did mention at the very beginning of the show that we wanted to do this when the episode aired, but because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, and I'm in SAG-AFTRA, you're in SAG-AFTRA as well. A major sticking point in the negotiations and eventually the settlement is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
And what I have said is use the technology as a strength. Now, I want to get an actor's perspective on this because I'm in the union, but I'm not an actor. I'm a broadcaster.
Right.
My point being is pay Anthony Daniels huge sums of money. And what I'm really talking about is James Earl Jones.
Right.
Because there are certain characters that should just never be recast.
Yeah.
Genevieve O'Reilly playing Mon Mothma was a seamless transition.
Yeah.
But nobody needs to put on that gold costume anymore.
Right. Exactly.
How do you feel about AI being used to preserve legacies like Luke Skywalker and C-3PO in these types of shows that add gravitas? And we're not asking these actors to do this anymore.
Right. I mean, it's a real touchy subject that's so broad, but in the context of that, like preserving something that's like with such gravitas, such an important part of the canon. Yeah, I have no problem with that. I'm obviously there's things that are worrying about AI, and me as an actor I'm actually obviously concerned about it as well. But I do think it's not going away. I think it's something like all new technology we have to embrace, figure out how to use wisely. Of course, we have to do it within realms of protection and all that for us and for everyone else that's, a digital artist and everything else. But I think it can end up being a really exciting time. It's obviously I don't want to see my likeness in a film that I hate doing like awful things, saying awful things. And but that's a very extreme example. For the most part, if it's used in a way that's in reverence and within line of the character, I say, why not? As long as there's some kind of compensation. I
think right?
I don't want it to be just like, oh, I can just keep using you and blah blah blah. That is the fair. Whoever, even if they're gone, their property should go to their family and all that stuff. Like that's the only thing. It should just be fair. It's not. It's really not that difficult. All we're asking for is literally fair pay.
Right. Well, and that's the argument. For my attitude, I don't want James Earl Jones to be used.
Right.
What I want it to do is, with his blessing or his family's blessing when he passes on, whenever that day comes. I made a joke on an earlier episode of the podcast. Redo Rogue One.
Right.
Because in Rogue One, he sounds like an old man.
Yeah.
And if you could take AI and have him redo those lines, like in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, Darth Vader was great.
Yeah.
And that James Earl Jones didn't get younger. So that the technology's there, and I'm not trying to take jobs away from people, but if you have a legacy position like that, I see the value there.
Right. Sure. I mean, it's difficult, right? When you still have access to the actual actor, it's tough, but you want to perhaps at least modulate it or something. But
Peter Cullen should always voice Optimus Prime.
Yes, absolutely. It would just sound wrong if all of a sudden you heard someone else say
somebody else.
You'd be like, what the hell? It'd be awful.